Hey!
Turning your hump day to a hump night. Some midweek major.
Ooh.
Get you all fired up.
Yeah.
Keeping you posted today. We'll play some games. We'll have some laughers. COVINO and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. Hope you're having a great one. Broadcasting live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. Remember, after the show, Rich, podcast goes up. So if you miss any of today's show, any show ever, our Friday live broadcast from Vegas, just search COVINO and Rich wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to follow, rate, and review. 5 stars only. Anything less is uncivilized, and I hate you.
I agree. Hey, hump day into a hump night. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds good.
Sounds sexy.
What are you
though,
watching?
right?
Love Island?
COVINO and Rich, we're bringing the sex. This is the Love Island of sports radio. Oh, and we be rocking out.
Oh.
Ooh.
I've noticed that I hate not watching something that I feel like everyone else is watching. And you brought it up earlier today when we were hanging that it's the Love Island rage. Is everyone just that bored with the ending of the NHL and the NBA
I gotta tell you,
baseball?
it's trash of the highest regard.
I mean, it is like
of the highest level. But Danny G nailed it. It's not that people of our generation should like it at all. If you do, I'd question your mentality.
I mean, a lot of people love it, dude.
No, a lot of people love it, but they're under like 25.
Yeah.
It is for younger people. So the fun in it for our generation is young people watching just to see how dumb they are and to see what they're talking about and to catch up on some of the goofy things they say. So it's like, you know, when you go to Vegas, we just came back from Vegas. One of the best parts of Vegas is people watching. The one-shoe, dirty-foot club stumblers that come stumbling out of the club at night with one shoe on. You know how it's just fun to watch them?
Yeah.
Fun to watch what they're wearing and what they're talking about, what they're doing. That's what you get from this show. It's a train wreck. And it's on every night, like Danny G mentioned yesterday.
I'm fascinated. Much like, you know, you get all this uncensored content on streaming services, and you wonder, you know, how does a Bachelor survive?
It's not going to.
It
can't survive.
You know,
when you have Love Island and everything's uncensored, cheeks are out,
they
anything
censor
goes.
butts on The Bachelor.
No.
Meanwhile, on Love Island, they're like,
Well, that's why it's not renewed.
They do slow-mo ass shaking.
Here's the lesson in a nutshell. Don't get beat in your own game. Ever in life. Don't be the blockbuster of life and get beat by Netflix, because The Bachelor is going to get beat by the Love Islands of the world because they just can't compete. They didn't pivot to a brand where you could do anything on a streaming service. I didn't realize they can get that raunchy and raw on Peacock, but apparently they can.
Have you never seen Dan Patrick pull his pants down?
No, I haven't. But I guess you can because they do on Love Island. But that being said, it's a modern-day soap opera. It's on every night. You follow these young idiots on an island trying to find love. And that's the beauty of sports. It's every night, and there's always drama, and it's fun, and you don't have to see anyone's ass.
Well, sometimes you want to see that
sometimes
ass.
you want to.
But not in sports.
Right.
I will say this, though. You talk about innovate or die. That's the quote of one of our pals, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Innovate or die?
I feel like the way Love Island has made you think The Bachelor is lame, I think baseball took the right pivots over the last couple years. Pitch clock, bigger bases, they're like pizza boxes, as Rob Parker says.
Well, they have to make those changes because then they'll be beat out by banana ball. Don't get beat in your own game.
More bat flips, more, theatrics. I think baseball is pivoting, and as you can tell, ratings are up. People are really interested in baseball more than they've been in about a decade because I think baseball saw the writing on the wall that it was being considered boring and long. And honestly, things like banana ball were starting to infiltrate. So
and don't think things like Big Three won't infiltrate the NBA unless they make some changes.
You see it happening, and that's why you got to applaud Major League Baseball. I think they are, in fact, realizing that they have the moment to really be big right now because baseball has a lot of young stars.
Right now, especially since there's nothing really else going on unless, of course, you're a WNBA fan.
Let me tell you, the Dodgers-Padres shenanigans, tell me that's not good for baseball. Of course it is. How do you not love what's going on there?
Dude. Lean into it. People love it.
Teams like the Mets and Yankees going through these big losing streaks. A lot of great young pitching. You heard Dan Byer talk about it in the update. So, hey, baseball's on fire. And I want to talk about something that went down in baseball last night. Now, this is not a good thing. I think this is trash bag behavior.
Well, hold on.
To the
Since
highest
we're
degree.
talking about not getting beat in your own game, it seems like Love Island's beating Bachelor. Netflix.
Netflix.
Well, we Hispanics say Netflix.
It's on fleek.
Netflix beat Blockbuster in their own game. Amazon beat Barnes & Noble in their own game. It goes on and on and on because people didn't pivot or change it up. As a broadcaster, should I stand up and cut my sleeves off and just be like Pat McAfee and just stand up the whole time?
No sleeves, standing.
My girlfriend was watching the other day. She's like, why doesn't he sit down? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I have to look into it. Maybe I'll just stand up the whole time.
He occasionally sits down
He
like a
never
high
sits down.
stool. He
Well,
has
you
a
know
high
what?
stool.
Since I'm not going to be beating my own game, these sleeves are coming off pretty soon. I'm just letting you know.
Good thing
Welcome
you've
to
been
the
doing
gun show.
Good thing
That's
you've been
right.
doing arms at the gym.
We might change the name of the show to Gun Show. The Gun Show with Covino
Gun
and Rich.
show and Rich.
So, that being said, speaking about baseball and some of the pivots they made that keep them relevant, because as we've been saying, I quote Deion Sanders, baseball's popping now. It really is. Baseball is popping. There's young superstars. There's lots going on.
Yeah.
There's a story in baseball from last night that we have to discuss. Diamondbacks, White Sox, Arizona's Ketel Marte. I can't say young superstar. He's 31. I mean, he's young in life, but he's not necessarily young in baseball. He's been around for a minute.
Last couple of years, he's emerged as one of the hot bats in the NL. He's a star.
Let's
He's
give
a
him
star.
props
He's an
first.
all-star.
Yeah, 320 batting average, which is like 420 in today's world. 15 home runs. For an outfielder, we're halfway there. That's a pretty solid season he's building right now.
Talking about a guy that's on pace for 30 dingers, batting 300. That's top-level hitting right
And what's
there.
cool about it is he's having a career. Well, he's had a bunch of great years. He had 36 home runs last year, 25 the year before. But it looks like he's on pace for one of his best years ever. This is his 11th plus year in the league. So I'm only saying that to establish that he's a great player. You probably know Catel Marte. But he's not a young guy. And that was, my first thing. Well, he's probably really young. But I'm like, no, but he's been in the league for a long time. Last night,
It's that realization when you're like, damn, we're all getting older. When I'm like, wait, Kevin Durant's been in basketball for 20 years?
I know.
What?
And his stats are still the same,
Yeah,
though. So
It's
props to him.
I hate when life passes us by, but you realize that a lot as a sports fan when you're like, when you heard something, not to go to basketball, when you heard Kevin Durant talk about, like a couple decades in the NBA, I'm like, what?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 20 years.
I know.
So
You mean the guy that's backing up Brett Favre? Oh, yeah, we were kids. Damn it.
Marte's been in there for a minute now.
I know.
But he had a moment. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give you my first reaction to the moment. He's on the mound. Arizona manager Torey Lovullo got his arm around him. Players got their arm around him. He's sort of sobbing in a moment, caught up in tears. And during the broadcast, they allude to the fact that he must have got bad news. At least that's what I was thinking as well. That was my impression. Like, he must have got some bad news, which could happen. Life happens, right? When baseball's going on, something maybe happened. Maybe something happened that day. We don't know what's going on, but he's in tears.
Yeah.
And come to find out that a 22-year-old fan said something about his mom, who passed away in a tragic car accident in 2017 in the Dominican Republic. My first reaction was, man, why do you let the fans get to you, dude? Really? You're a big leaguer, you're being heckled all the time. I can't believe you let the fans get to you like that. I didn't judge him by any means, but that was my first reaction. Like, really? You let these dumbass fans get to you like that, bro? I'm surprised you don't have a thicker skin. That really was my first reaction. You're in the big leagues. Dude, you ever sit in the bleachers in the Bronx? I've heard some horrible things being said to players.
Yeah.
And even a young player has to know or has the ability to tune it out. And they do. I've seen it. So that was my first reaction. Then I put it up to Spot because here I am sitting handsome on this microphone with both my parents at home. So I don't know what it's like to lose a parent tragically like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what could trigger somebody because we were talking about it before, and that's why we like to have these open discussions because I know everybody's like, toughen up. There's no crying in baseball. Spot was like, hey, dude, anything could trigger you. And I'm like, you know what? That is true. I could be driving in the car and hear a song that I didn't even know meant anything to me, and all of a sudden I'm all emotional because, I don't know, maybe it made me think of my daughter or something.
I'll stand by you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
I'll stand
my daughter's
by you.
a beautiful, successful teenager, but I'm like, oh man, I never realized I connected that song to her. And something, a Folgers commercial could hit you out of nowhere. So maybe this kid, because I looked everywhere unless Dan Byer has an update. I don't know what this kid said that triggered him, but it could be as simple as that. He was triggered, right, Spotty?
Yeah, I mean, you have good days and bad days. There's memories that pop up. Just because time has gone by doesn't make the feeling any less intense.
True. This is what, like 8 years ago now,
It's
right?
8 years ago. And like you were saying, things that trigger. Like the worst thing I ever found out, I think Rich told me, was that song "Drops of Jupiter" by Train is about his dead mother. And it's like, so now anytime I hear something like that, I'm just bawling my eyes
You
out.
think of your late mother.
Yeah, so it's like things are triggered, and if you're like, especially I'm sure the heat of competition pulls up all sorts of emotions.
That might be the number one triggering song in all the land.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful song.
It's a beautiful song.
Now that she's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her hair.
Soy lattes.
I mean, maybe not when I sing it, but my goodness.
But if you don't know, that song Pat Monahan wrote right after his mother passed away of Train. It's about his mom going into the afterlife, traveling through outer space. But, your first instinct was, how does he let those jackass fans
it's
bother
an
him?
honest one. I'm not proud of it, but I'm like, dude, you're a big leaguer. You're 31. Never let them see you sweat. So the question is, should players have thicker skin, or is that understandable when you put it in the perspective of, hey, we're all human and you never know what gets you sometimes?
My first instinct, quite the opposite. My instinct was,
oh, you're the greatest. Tell me. I'm just
you could leave it at that.
Tell me, what was your first instinct?
My first instinct is, what what POS?
Oh, yeah.
What type of trash bag do you have to be to taunt someone about their dead family member? That's the type of behavior that guy deserves a karate kick.
But don't
to
you
the
understand?
neck.
That's also like you're giving this loser that much power, dude.
Well, why is the guy got to be a loser in the first place?
He's not a loser?
Would
a
you?
22-year-old
Hold
loser
on.
says that? You're really going to take it that much to heart? Like, you're a loser. You're here watching me in the stands talking smack, you loser.
The
I'm not going
fan-
to ever give anybody that much power.
By the way, the fan knew that he went overboard because after this indefinite suspension or ban from the
he's
ballpark,
banned.
it's the article I'm reading here says he expressed remorse for his actions.
Yo, if Ketel Marte kicked this guy in the nuts and left him laying in the parking lot, would anyone be sad about that?
Well, that's the funny thing. Like, back in the day, a guy like Ty Cobb would have probably pulled this guy by the collar and punched him right in the nose and called it even. It's not the world we live in anymore. So he had to sit there and deal with it. And whatever was said, and I don't know, but what I do know is that it was confirmed. It was confirmed that this dude said this, confirmed that he was heckling him about his mom.
This reminds me of back in the day, Covino went to a game at Yankee Stadium. You probably remember your own story. And the Yankee bleacher creatures, known to be not the most noble of individuals.
I mean, they go by creatures.
Covino, you have told the story where
I forget who
there
it was.
There was a player on a team who had recently lost a family member, and the bleacher creatures in the Bronx were taunting this outfielder, saying things like, "Your mother's pushing up daisies. She's dead." And
That's
and
exactly what they said.
And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, again, Ketel Marte, I get it. Crying on the mound, letting emotions get the best of you. I think free pass. I think these kids, younger people now, I don't want to sound like a boomer because I'm not. We're in our 40s. But I feel like younger
but this
people
is a
now.
22-year-old idiot.
Younger people now, I think, don't have the accountability of other generations because no one is there to kick them in the ass. I feel like kids now don't think about.
Everybody had the plan until they're punched in the face.
They don't think about the repercussions. Like, who goes to a game and thinks it's okay to taunt a guy about his dead mom? Like, who on earth
Someone
would say that's okay?
Stupid and drinking probably, and you mix alcohol with stupidity, anything could happen. And like you said, no repercussions. He is banned, though. That was the update from Dan Byer. But your first reaction, and believe me, Rich, I got friends talking about it on group chats, and there is an honest sentiment.
Yeah.
Maybe people wouldn't say this on the radio, but they're saying it on my phone. Come on, toughen up, bro. So it's like, should a player have thicker skin, or is it understandable? And I got to give Spot the credit, who's on our videos, Fox Sports Radio's YouTube, and at Covino and Rich and at Fox Sports Radio, said, hey, man, anything could trigger you. And again, I'm very fortunate and blessed to still have my parents, but I do understand where he's coming from when he says that.
Cove, where's the line? Because, listen, we're all going to, unfortunately, lose our parents at some point. That's
Well, the line was crossed.
That's the circle of life.
But I am surprised that it brought him to tears.
No parent wants to ever outlive their child.
Are you?
Where's the line? What if someone, what if some athlete lost their kid?
Oof.
And
I mean, you're just scum of the earth, Rob Zombie style.
But I'm
you're just
saying-
scum of the earth if you're bringing that up.
but I'm saying there's
Any
levels of
death
trash
in family.
bag.
Yeah.
But
How about just stay away from family altogether?
Yeah.
I agree with
You
that.
know,
I
with
agree
trash
with that.
talking, that's a unwritten rule that,
you know what, though?
you do not talk about the other person's family. You
You're
don't go
right.
there.
You always leave kids
Leave
and
the
family
kids
out
and
of it,
family
right?
out of it.
You want to taunt me and make fun of me.
Yes.
That's just how life works, period. That's the unwritten rule of fighting and taunting and smack talking,
Yep.
right?
I even feel like that's sort of like a mild unwritten rule of social media even. Like, yo, hey, you could go on Twitter, X, Instagram, anywhere and say that, yo, Covino and Rich, you suck.
I mean, that rule applies here. You're not going to like everything we say. You might not like us, and you have the right to your opinion. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. But you bring our family into it, that's when it gets
Man,
line crossing anytime. But, okay, so let me be fair. Yeah, it's understandable that he was in tears and upset. Maybe he was just like, maybe he was so, what's the word I'm looking for? Like maybe he just felt so bad that someone would stoop that low, right? And it made him emotional.
Almost
Like,
shocked,
he was,
too,
like
right?
disgusted by it. He was so hurt and disgusted that it brought him to those emotions. I'm just surprised to see it. And that's not from a judgment standpoint really at all. I was surprised to see the guy in tears, and I was surprised to hear the reason.
It's sadly, it's almost like a club. Unless you've gone through it,
Yeah.
you don't understand it. Like when I've lost both my parents, but like when I lost my mother and my wife saw my emotion, she like was there for me, but she didn't fully get it. And then she lost her father, and then finally she even said to me, she's like, I get it now. So it's like until you've been through that type of emotion,
I believe that.
you
yeah.
don't understand it. So as you know, we look at it and you look at it as this is a grown man who's playing sports who shouldn't be crying on the field.
Okay, then why
But, like,
haven't
you
we
don't-
seen it before, though?
I mean, maybe
That's why I'm also surprised that it happened.
Well, hold on.
You think it's the first time it
You
happened?
said you're shocked that you see a grown man crying on the field and letting his emotions get, dictated by some, POS in the stands. Are you equally shocked that someone would go there? Like, I know you're saying there's a lot of trash out there,
I'm
but
not.
you really
you're
are.
giving, you're giving people way too much
But
credit.
you're not
Oh, yeah.
shocked.
There's
Who-
so many.
we just talked last week about I was actually during midweek major about sports betting and how sports betting has made fans think they're invincible when talking to players because they're affecting their bottom line. They're threatening them. They're
these
threatening
dudes
their families.
We're high-fiving because they got in his head until they realized how severe it was. Because a lot of these people,
People,
They don't
social media
care,
has
dude.
messed with people's minds to
Yeah.
think that they can get away with anything.
all these keyboard warriors think that they could say whatever they want and do whatever they want. And then when it happens in real life, they're like, oh, man, maybe I can't or maybe I shouldn't. So, Dan Byer, your thoughts again. I'm saying understandable, but I was surprised. I can't lie about that.
Yeah,
because-
I think honestly it's a little weird to hear me or to hear you say, because I don't know what hill you would die on for that. Like I feel like there's a line, as Danny said, family off limits.
Yeah.
Like just off limits.
I'm not dying on a hill. The
Deceased-
hill I'm dying on is I would never give any 22-year-old pencil neck dork the power
Sure.
to upset me that much. And as a guy in a professional baseball league, I'm surprised he hasn't heard it before. I'm not saying that he's a weenie for crying or what a loser or what a softy pants or anything like that. I'm saying what a loser this guy is to be saying that, but you can't let people affect you in that way. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that it did.
It could go day by day. Yesterday maybe just wasn't Ketel Marte's day. The other thing that I thought about this was this isn't well known. I didn't know that Catel Marte's mother was killed in a car accident, so it took some research or by somebody who knew.
Yeah.
So it took some effort to do that. Here's the other thing that I actually kind of feel bad about is, so we see it today on social media. The White Sox on their scoreboard place a sign that says, "We stand by you, Catel Marte." Now on local news in Arizona is like, hey, when they come back home Friday for their series standing ovation. So this is now continually being brought up. You know, like where he's now got to see that. So now guess what? Now there could be emotions again. Now on Friday, guess what? More emotions when he probably just wants to play baseball.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up because here was the other thought I had. When they disclosed the information, I'm like, you just opened up the floodgates to what triggered this guy for any other scumbag fan out there that wants to mess with him. And now he has to deal with this sort of treatment or backlash.
I follow you there. That like sometimes sometimes you're giving idiots their trigger.
Exactly, right? Like everybody has one. Now you know you gave other teams and other fans that ammunition, and not everybody's that sweet and that nice, and when alcohol's involved. So it did get me thinking a million things, and I saw the manager say he wants to defend his players, and everyone was there for him, and I thought that was great. It was a surprising thing, though, because, again, fans are rowdy and gross, and they have been forever. So I'm surprised it's the first time we've seen this that I know of.
And he may take it as a way. It's great to see the love. Great to see the love from the White Sox fans. It'll be great to see the love from the Arizona fans when he comes home. But it is just he was put in a situation that he had no control over. And also, he couldn't do anything. If some guy came up to any of us in a bar or somewhere else, like there would be some sort of confrontation to it. Ketel Marte knows that he's powerless in that situation. Yeah. So I think that has – yeah. There's also a lot to that because it's almost like a pure sense of meanness.
By the way, another
cruelty.
question.
Cruelty.
It's very cruel. Here's another question, Dan and Danny G and Sam. You guys might know the answer to this. This isn't the first time we've heard banned in sports or banned at the stadium. How does that work?
How do they do it?
I'll tell you how it's going to work moving forward.
No, seriously. Yeah,
I'll tell you how it's going to move.
Is it the airport security sort of thing?
Moving forward, if you've been to the Intuit Dome where the Clippers play, you walk in, they scan your face.
Face recognition.
Now, in the past, it might have been trickier. Like, just go there with a fake mustache.
Yes.
But now, I'm telling you, when I went to the Intuit Dome for the first time where the Clippers play, the technology is there where I walked in and they're like, welcome, Richard. I'm like, ooh. So in the future, the same way,
Minority Report.
You know, when you go to the Danny G, when we go to fights in Vegas, you go scan your ID, you go grab 2 beers out of the shelf, and it knows to charge your credit card. The technology will be there that it's not going to be easy for these scumbags to sneak in anymore.
And by the way, I want to make it very clear, I'm not defending this 22-year-old idiot by any means. I'm just surprised by what I saw, and I'm trying to have a fair conversation because I know, and no one wants to admit it because it sounds insensitive, there's a huge side of people who are like, hey, man, you got to have tougher skin. And there's another side of people who are like, yeah, man, it's completely understandable. So I'm trying, yes.
I don't know. I feel like everyone understands sensitivity more these days.
Check your phone. Talk to your friends.
But even Marte's manager kind of said something in line with your thoughts, Covino. Part of his quote says, no matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy's an idiot. It shouldn't have an impact on you. That's what he told him.
You know,
when he had his arm around him.
We're very conditioned in today's world to sort of like deal with losers and scumbags, to be honest. You see the stuff that people say about you sometimes and me sometimes just because we do a radio show? I mean, we can't let that stuff get to us. Hey, could it be a bad day like Dan Beyer said? Could anything trigger us? Absolutely, and that's why we brought it up. It's just another way to look at it. Anything could trigger anybody. Your thoughts? I feel bad for Catel Marte. That guy is a loser. I'm glad he's banned for life. Your thoughts after seeing that? Let us know. 877-99 on Fox. Plus, we got Mike's Wednesday Words of Wisdom and Midweek
Can't
Major.
wait for both of those things. We got a lot of fun coming up. CNR on FSR. Now, from searching online to asking your friends and fam, there's lots of ways to look for jobs. But what if you had one team that could help you find the right role? That's where Express Employment Professionals comes in. Your local Express Employment Pros office is a one connection to endless job opportunities. With just one application, they can help you find the job at a company that fits your needs. So visit expresspros.com.
And as always, Express never charges job seekers a fee. Express knows when companies are hiring, offers benefits, and competitive pay. And in just one interview, they're prepared to present you at multiple companies that fit your needs. So go to expresspros.com to get started. Find your nearest location and discover for yourself what it's like to have support in your job search.
You can also start your job search through the Express Jobs app. Download it today, search jobs, apply, and contact your local Express team. That's expresspros.com to start your job search today.
It's Covino and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. Are you ready?
Yes! We talk about pop culture, we talk about sports, we talk about life.
It's a friendship on the radio. When you talk about the best athlete in the world, you're probably thinking Jim Thorpe, right?
I'm thinking Bo
joking.
Jackson.
I'd have to throw myself at the age of 12 into the conversation.
You are the home run champion. When you find the commonality between sports and life, those analogies and conversations are the best. You were dating some girl, and you were like, "Hey, babe, let's watch The Sixth Sense." Her mom walked in. "Can you believe he was dead the whole time?"
I wanted to get up.
Well, slow down, Dana White.
I don't want to say It's never boring.
If the Chiefs win,
Sorry, Patrick Mahomes here. What do you mean by if the Chiefs win?
Our friendship is real. It's authentic. You can't fake the funk.
we're the type of guys you'd want to hang out with at a sports bar. Best way to pick someone up at a bar?
Yeah.
Go up to a cute girl and say, "Oh, look at that bozo over there," and I'll point to you. We could make fun of each other, poke each other a little bit.
I call him Blubber Lips, Rich Davis, because he never stops talking.
He thinks he's the Mexican Fonz.
Yeah.
At any point, he's wearing a chain. You have a chain on?
Always.
Of course he has a chain.
That's like asking me if I'm wearing cologne right now. Of course I am. We take a lot of pride in being inclusive and interactive on our show. Just the more the merrier.
Josh, Covino thinks that every man should own a leather jacket.
I only wear vegan leather.
Can you believe this guy?
I can't believe this guy. We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate y'all so. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
Mike Tyson, Covino, loves to just challenge us with random Mike Tyson trivia.
Which accomplished celebrity purchased my sprawling Connecticut estate?
I'm going to go 50 Cent.
You are absolutely correct, 50 Cent. I love his song.
You can't schedule a big event
You
during a
can't.
big sports moment.
My family member scheduled their wedding the same night as a Julio Cesar Chavez fight. Everyone was glued to that fight instead of doing the electric slide.
This is weak.
Unbelievable. You're very tricky.
America, you got sports, you got fun, you got us.
Covino and Rich.
We're crushing it.
It's Covino and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. Are you ready?
Yes! We talk about pop culture, we talk about sports, we talk about life.
It's a friendship on the radio. When you talk about the best athlete in the world, you're probably thinking Jim Thorpe, right?
I'm thinking Bo
joking.
Jackson.
I'd have to throw myself at the age of 12 into the conversation.
You are the home run champion. When you find the commonality between sports and life, those analogies and conversations are the best. You were dating some girl, and you were like, "Hey, babe, let's watch The Sixth Sense." Her mom walked in. "Can you believe he was dead the whole time?"
I wanted to get up.
Well, slow down, Dana White.
I don't want to say It's never boring.
If the Chiefs win,
Sorry, Patrick Mahomes here. What do you mean by if the Chiefs win?
Our friendship is real. It's authentic. You can't fake the funk.
we're the type of guys you'd want to hang out with at a sports bar. Best way to pick someone up at a bar?
Yeah.
Go up to a cute girl and say, "Oh, look at that bozo over there," and I'll point to you. We could make fun of each other, poke each other a little bit.
I call him Blubber Lips, Rich Davis, because he never stops talking.
He thinks he's the Mexican Fonz.
Yeah.
At any point, he's wearing a chain. You have a chain on?
Always.
Of course he has a chain.
That's like asking me if I'm wearing cologne right now. Of course I am. We take a lot of pride in being inclusive and interactive on our show. Just the more the merrier.
Josh, Covino thinks that every man should own a leather jacket.
I only wear vegan leather.
Can you believe this guy?
I can't believe this guy. We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate y'all so. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
Mike Tyson, Covino, loves to just challenge us with random Mike Tyson trivia.
Which accomplished celebrity purchased my sprawling Connecticut
50th date.
I'm going to go 50 Cent.
You are absolutely correct. 50th Cent. I love his song.
You can't schedule a big event during
can't.
a big sports moment.
My family member scheduled their wedding the same night as a Julio Cesar Chavez fight. Everyone was glued to that fight instead of doing the electric slide.
This is weak.
Unbelievable. You're very tricky.
America, you got sports, you got fun, you got us.
Covino and Rich.
We're crushing it.
A beautiful, beautiful song from Train, Drops of Jupiter. About the death of Pat Monahan's mom. But then he had to go and ruin it with the soy latte line.
Maybe you just haven't had a good soy latte.
The best soy latte that you ever had.
Oh, boy.
Covino and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. What are you trying to trigger me, Sam?
You're trying to make me cry?
I got something in my eye right now.
You have to realize I brought up two sides of the story and the contrast to explain that, yeah, man, sometimes people are easily triggered. I remember being at an STP concert, and this was somewhat recent with Jeff Goot, the new lead singer. And I'm singing along to all these songs that were such an important part of my youth that all of a sudden I was triggered by it because I had no emotional connection to those songs. They didn't make me think of anybody in particular or anything other than, oh my God, these songs are so old now. And it made me emotional. Like, on a Sunday afternoon, what if it,
That happens.
I thought you were getting emotional just thinking about, like, Scott Weiland's no longer with us.
You know, it could be
like,
all those things.
Who's this guy? Another
You
different
don't
guy.
know, and that's why I brought up the whole story, because Spot's right. You never know what's going to trigger you and when, and Dan Byer's right too. You never know what people are going through and when and what type of day he had, and we still don't know what that jabroni said to the poor guy.
Yeah.
We're talking about Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks yesterday, seen crying on the field, being consoled by Torey Lovullo, the manager of the Diamondbacks. They did win the game 4-1, and shame on the White Sox fan that said whatever he said.
Now, the manager actually commented on this if you want to take a listen.
Terrible moment. Fans are nasty, and fans go too far sometimes. And I love my players, and I'm going to protect them. I've known Ketel for 9 years, and he's had some unbelievably great moments and some hardships as well, and some really, really tough moments in his life. And I know those. And at the end of the day, we're human beings and we have emotions. And I saw him hurting, and I want to protect him. I love you, and I'm with you, and we're all together. And you're not alone. No matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy's an idiot and shouldn't have an impact on you.
We are live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. For over 40 years, Tire Rack has been helping customers find the right tires for how, what, and where they drive. Ship fast and free, backed by free road hazard protection with convenient installation options like mobile tire installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
All right, let's go to your feedback here on Covino and Rich. Fans that are just trash, you know, is there a line that you can't cross? I say yes. I feel like
trash.
Family, you know, wives, spouses, dead relatives, like you call out stuff like that. What a piece of garbage you are. Let's
Yeah,
go
but
to
to pretend like it doesn't happen all the time. You even told a story that I told you from a Yankees game.
Yeah, but
to
it's not
pretend like
right.
it doesn't happen is absurd. That's why I said there was a part of me that was surprised that it got to him, but also understandable that everybody has a moment or a trigger. So, you know, you're saying like you're surprised. How can we be surprised that when you mix alcohol with scumbags, these things could happen?
All right, Reese in Seattle, you're on Covino and Rich. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing? I want to just cover a couple things real quick. I think that some communities, some cultures value their moms and their grandmothers way differently than other people. Not that everybody doesn't love their mom and their grandmother.
That's a great point.
And I think that anybody on a given day, if someone was to say something about your wife had a miscarriage, or your mother was killed, or one of your family members was murdered. There's no guarantee that that's not going to hurt any average person.
Yeah.
The second part I want to say.
No, go ahead. Continue, man.
The second thing I want to say is people who do stuff like that, they always want to pick someone who they know is financially not able to respond. He would never walk out on the streets and say that to me. He would never walk out on the streets and say that to you. He would never walk up to Mike Tyson and say that. He's only doing that because he knows there's a position that player can't operate outside of. That's the level of cowardice that fan had.
Yeah, that's a fact. You know,
That was a great call. He brought up some great points.
And
He really did.
what is the old phrase? Hurt people, hurt people. Like, what type of demented person do you need to be to even have it inside you?
Or just your last living brain cell in that
but
moment.
I'm just saying, like, you got to be a pretty miserable person in life to even go to those depths to talk about someone's, like he said, someone's wife had a miscarriage, or their parent died, or their kid died. Like,
we wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
we always say that's the number one test. Well, would you do it? Not even in a million years.
But he brought up another point. And again, I thought about this from all sorts of angles because it was wild because we'd never really seen it like this, right? And we talked about this recently, Rich, my rare ability to compartmentalize whatever's going on in my life, yet still do a radio show every day. We all have that ability. You mentioned that I have a great ability.
You have a
of it,
unique ability.
right? For all we know, he has that same ability, and he's not thinking about those things, and then it's all of a sudden brought into that reality, and he's not used to that. You know, he wasn't thinking about those type of things.
I mean, on a day-to-day basis, people bump into people you want to, you know, like I said, punch in the neck, but you don't because you have your restraint and you're a mature adult. Ketel Marte is handcuffed here. He can't do a thing, and this guy's trash. Jesse in Indiana, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, boys?
What's up?
So yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with what Reese said. I mean, I have personally gone through a miscarriage, and you know, I couldn't even seeing a baby would make me tear up. But you know,
now imagine if you're a pro ball player. Imagine Jesse, if you're a pro ball player and someone taunts you about you or your wife,
and they bring that into your competitive mindset, and you're like, "What? Yeah, you're caught off guard." Yeah, it's wild, man.
Like, I don't know how Ketel was even in the mindset to be able to go out there and play after hearing that.
Yeah. Tyler, Connecticut, your thoughts on Marte? What's up?
Hey, how you doing? You must be in the league of your own because there's no crying in baseball, right? Apparently, I mean,
yeah. If you want to reference that, yeah.
No, because you don't think there's an older generation of people that are like, man, there's a reason. I don't know, Rich. We haven't seen this before. We just haven't.
I'm saying, listen, as someone who's lost both their parents, like, there's no amount of time for grieving, right?
Yeah.
Some say, oh, you know, your mom died a couple years ago. Like, a couple years ago, 20 years ago, there's no amount of time for grieving, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know what he was going through
True.
yesterday, right? He could have been going through other shit or other stuff. Excuse me. I apologize.
Dude,
Sorry.
it's okay. We got you. We got you.
He could have been going through other stuff, and you just never know. Then one more thing, though, real quick.
Yeah.
You said you don't, you know, he shouldn't cry or whatnot. He shouldn't even give the 22-year-old the time of day, right, to show him that anything, right?
The power to get you like that, you
right?
know?
The power,
right?
But we've been talking about him now for an hour on the national public radio station.
No,
right?
we're talking about what happened. We're not giving this guy props.
It's not like this guy. We don't know his name.
Honestly, this guy's he's the weakest of the weak. I'm glad he's banned for life. I don't think there's any exceptions there. I'm glad to hear the update. I'm glad that he was pointed out. I'm glad they had the actual proof and they had confirmation of what he said and what he did. You know,
we didn't
fans
say
like that don't belong there.
We didn't say the fan's name.
Hell no.
We're
talking
not
about
giving
what
him
happened.
props.
If anything, we're making an example of bad behavior that you should avoid as a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah,
That's
but
all.
I think everyone's on the same page. And you know what? I get what you're saying. There's a lot of old cats that are like crying. You know what I think changed that?
Of course there are, Rich. You don't think that there's older guys that are like, Wade Boggs would never do that.
Of course. I think that most of those people are dead.
No.
They are. I think Mike Schmidt changed all this when he cried.
I think you're right, actually. That
I
was one of the first
I remember
moments.
Mike Schmidt crying at the Hall of Fame, and like
That was a
being,
game changer.
People being like, "Wow, I mean, if Mike Schmidt's crying and
No,
showing
that was when he
emotion-
retired, wasn't it?
yeah, something like that." So,
Yeah.
hey, your thoughts, we'll get them, but let's go to Dan Byer for an update. DB, thanks for your input, by the way, also. It's a wild story.
No problem. Absolutely. Love to do it. Major League Baseball in action today. Marte went 0 for 4 in the series ender in Chicago against the White Sox. White Sox ended up winning 7-3 to salvage the final game of that 3-game set. As I mentioned earlier, Diamondbacks have tomorrow off. They will then start a series with the Marlins coming up on Friday. Brewers and Pirates, what a showdown that was today. Paul Skeens against Jacob Mizorowski. And in the end, it was the Brew Crew.
Pitch. He is a liner to right. Tracking it is Frelick. He's there. He makes the catch. And the Brewers prevail 4-2 this afternoon.
As Jacob Mizorowski got the win, going 5 and striking out 8 in the Battle of Young Arms, Paul Skeens took the loss, going 4, allowing 4 earned, all of which came in the second inning as the Brewers get that win on the Brewers Radio Network. Red Sox and Angels right now tied up at 2 apiece in the bottom of the 5th in Anaheim, while the Padres hold on to a 1-0 edge against the Nationals. That's in the 6th inning in San Diego. NBA draft is tonight. Mavericks have the first overall pick, as the first round will take place this evening starting at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Second round takes place tomorrow. Utah Jazz forward John Collins exercising the option in his contract for next season, worth around $26 million, while the Rockets signed guard Fred VanVleet to a new 2-year deal worth $50 million. Seahawks signed former corner Shaquille Griffin to a deal bringing him back to Seattle. He was originally drafted by the team in 2017, spent 4 years, then left for Jacksonville, now back in the Pacific Northwest. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, DB.
Thank you, DB. Our buddy Michael Yo hit us up listening in Vegas.
Michael Yo, very close with his parents. I love all the comedy he does with his
Yo.
parents. Yeah, yo.
No, he said this whole conversation has to put in perspective what Jackie Robinson must have heard.
Oh, but that's what I'm trying to say, Rich.
But that's also 70 years ago.
No. You guys are so full of it in a way. I say that respectfully. It's like your show. Remember Ozark? There was a line. It's not the first time they stole something. It's the first time they got caught. Remember that line?
Yeah, of course.
This isn't the first time this has happened. This is the first time it garnered this reaction.
But
so
I
for
think
us
you're
to be
also
surprised by it is, come on, dude.
I think you are underestimating
People
how
are the
quickly
worst.
how quickly people evolved with this type of stuff.
I hope this is a learning lesson to be better. This stuff happens all the time. This is the first time we saw it pan out this way.
All right, your thoughts, hey, at COVINO Rich. Now, we're going to have a lot coming up. We have Mike's Words of Wisdom. Spot's got midweek major. We'll give away some goodies. All coming up on a fun, action-packed Wednesday. COVINO and Rich.
Wake up, it's two pros and a cup of Joe, Fox Sports Radio.
You ready? Yes.
I'm Colin Cowherd. This is The Herd.
You are listening to The Dan Patrick Show.
It's the odd couple. You know what time it is. Let's get it.
Fox Sports Radio.
Bigger, bolder, and better than anyone in the game.
Fox Sports Radio is the #1 sports audio network.
Diverse, fun, entertaining, and driven by the big sports topics of the day.
They had to bolster the offensive line, which they did.
That game was incredible. You are wrong.
The passion and emotional, the visceral connection is so much greater in radio than anything else available today.
We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate you all so. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
I'm your favorite fan.
Thank you.
Love you. You're very talented. You're the best.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Great show.
Thank you, Jim. You sound like Joe Pesci.
How am I funny to you?
I can't help but notice that the W-2s for the quarterback look a lot higher.
That's because we're worth it.
You gotta be kidding.
He never was an elite quarterback.
Unbelievable.
Yes!
LeBron James is a legend.
No, he's not. He complains all the time.
You say Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, but Eli Manning beat him twice. Wrong. Wrong. For 25 years, Fox Sports Radio has dominated the sports audio landscape.
With the biggest talent and the best programming available.
We talk sports and we have fun doing it. We talk about life.
Sports radio is where you go after the games are over, and then the discussion begins.
If the Chiefs win,
Sorry, Patrick Mahomes here. What do you mean by if the Chiefs win?
It is live. It is unscripted. No other medium can touch that.
and that's what makes it special.
Yes.
Who wants that?
Bigger, bolder, better. We are Fox Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Wake up, it's two pros and a cup of Joe, Fox Sports Radio.
You ready? Yes.
I'm Colin Cowherd. This is The Herd.
You are listening to The Dan Patrick Show.
It's the odd couple. You know what time it is. Let's get it.
Fox Sports Radio.
Bigger, bolder, and better than anyone in the game.
Fox Sports Radio is the #1 sports audio network.
Diverse, fun, entertaining, and driven by the big sports topics of the day.
They had to bolster the offensive line, which they did.
That game was incredible. You are wrong.
The passion and emotional, the visceral connection is so much greater in radio than anything else available today.
We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate you all so. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
I'm your favorite fan.
Thank you.
Love you. You're very talented. You're the best.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Great show.
Thank you, Jim. You sound like Joe Pesci.
How am I funny to you?
I can't help but notice that the W-2s for the quarterback look a lot higher.
That's because we're worth it.
You gotta be kidding.
He never was an elite quarterback.
Unbelievable.
Yes!
LeBron James is a legend.
No, he's not. He complains all the time.
You say Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, but Eli Manning beat him twice. Wrong. Wrong.
You trying to trigger me, bro? Trying to trigger me, bro. By the way, you're trying to have a full-on discussion, and what caveman feedback we got on social media. Clean your ears out, you bozos. But for the rest of you, love you. COVINO and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. And it's time for our tire rack play of the day. The Angels walked it off last night.
And he hits it hard out to right center field, pretty deep. Rafael is back. It's over his head. It's off the wall. It might be a home run. Moore's racing on his way to third. The game is tied at least as Moore has a triple, and I think he's won it. Say goodnight to the Red Sox. It's a home run.
Look at that.
Must be
Courtesy
nice.
of FanDuel Sports Network West. That's our play of the day. For over 40 years, Tire Rack.
Tire Rack.
Been helping customers find the right tires for how, what, and where they drive. Shipped fast and free, backed by free road hazard protection, convenient installation options like mobile tire installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
So we have Midweek Major. We do it every Wednesday. The biggest stories in the world of sports and pop culture. Are they mid stories, week, or major stories? We'll discuss. Plus, Mike's Wednesday words of wisdom.
Who?
We got like 6. Mike, who runs this place? We have like 6 or 7 swiggies with the swaggy left. Then we're going to move on to Nerf footballs. At least we're trying to, right, for giveaways. But we have like 6 swiggies left. We gave away a ton in Vegas. If you missed our Friday broadcast from Vegas, catch it on the podcast. So get your hands on one now while you can and play Mike's Wednesday Words of Wisdom. If you could repeat his words verbatim, you win.
Now, we're going to get to all the stuff you just said, but I feel fresh off of our big party in Vegas.
You feel fresh. I'm still recovering.
I feel like...
I don't even have my voice left. I think I left it in Vegas. I lost it.
I would argue that no one has ever had more fun at a radio show or podcast event ever. It was so much fun. And then I'm like, who partied better than us? And you know who's trying to one-up us?
Who?
Tight End University.
Why, because Taylor Swift's performing?
I mean, did we have Taylor Swift perform?
No, good.
But
I'm glad we did.
She was a surprise performance.
I got to ask. Acting like you wouldn't have wanted her to perform.
I wouldn't.
We had Javier Sam.
We had Sam dancing in the ballroom.
That's more fun to me.
But
Taylor Swift.
You see Taylor Swift with her surprise performance, and it was created, as you know, by Greg Olson, my dude George Kittle, and Travis Kelce.
George Kittle, you mean the future WWE superstar?
I love George Kittle. You know this. Just signed a big deal with my Niners. So I got to ask, random quick question before we get into all that other stuff. Is there a position in any sport that has more fun than tight ends in the NFL? Like a cool position. I feel like out of nowhere, when we were kids, it was like Brent Jones and
fun. You're saying fun,
Yeah,
right?
I'm saying like you had
like the wild guy.
Like you can think back to some of the rando tight ends of the 80s and 90s, but they didn't have the role that a tight end has now. Like guys like Jimmy Graham sort of paved the way. Like I said, who was the cowboy? Was it Novacek? Then you had Tony Gonzalez and Brent Jones. But now the tight end is such a hot position. Dude, your boy Brock Bowers. Like it
tight
is
ends
now
are definitely that
cool position.
That rough, sort of having fun kind of guy. Receivers are the flashy, trash talking type.
Is it the closer in baseball? Like, is there a swagger?
The wild thing?
Like, like a swagger that, like, some closers in baseball have. They have their entrance music and lights out when they come in. Sort of started by a Mariano Rivera type, right?
Yeah, it's a personality type for sure.
Is there anyone? So, answer me there. Who else would you put in the category of tight ends and baseball closers?
Think about it. We'll play some games, give away some prizes. We do it next on CNR.